Hey, y'all, picture this. A 17-year-old girl, Lena Thompson, dragged through a crowded airport, wrists bleeding from too tight handcuffs, her face calm as stone while security hauls her like she's some kind of criminal. She's a straight-A kid, headed to a dream interview at Caltech, but here she is, caught in a nightmare she didn't see coming. This isn't just a bad day, it's a setup, and it's about to blow up in ways nobody expected. I'm Lena's cousin, and I'm telling you her story, 'cause it's one that'll make your blood boil and your heart cheer, all at once. Lena's always been the kind of kid who makes you proud just by existing top of her class, perfect SATs, the works. Her dad, James Thompson, runs Horizon Global Airlines, but you'd never know it from how low-key he keeps it. He raised Lena to earn her own way, no silver spoons, just grit. Growing up in a ritzy private school in Atlanta, she dealt with the usual microaggressions: teachers shocked she aced tests, kids asking to touch her braids, mistaking her for the only other black girl in her grade. She learned to keep her cool, but nothing prepared her for what went down at Charlotte International Airport. It started small: check-in agent squinting at her ID like it was fake, holding her up for 10 minutes while white folks breezed through. Then security, pulling her aside for a random pat-down, unpacking her bag like she was smuggling something. Lena noticed a weird blue mark on her boarding pass, one that wasn't there before. Her ascending the escalator of injustice. She thought, Simeon's targeting me. On Horizon Flight 917, it got worse. Her first-class seat? Given to a smug businessman, Richard Holt, after flight attendant Karen Stiles brushed her off with a smirk colder than a winter storm. "Must be a mistake, sweetie," Karen said, barely glancing at Lena's ticket. "Plenty of seats in economy." Lena held her ground, quoting airline policy like a pro, but Karen's eyes turned to slits. "You're holding us up," she snapped, and called her boss, Mike Larson, who didn't even check Lena's boarding pass before offering her a middle seat or a flight tomorrow. Caltech doesn't reschedule dreams, so Lena swallowed her pride, but not before overhearing Karen whisper to a colleague, "She doesn't belong up here, first class has standards." That cut deep, like a blade to the soul. In economy, squeezed between two passengers who ignored her, Lena tried to focus on her Caltech notes. Then turbulence hit, her laptop slid to the aisle, and Karen pounced, holding it up like a trophy. "This yours?" she asked, voice dripping with suspicion. "Pretty fancy for you." When Lena showed her ID matching the laptop's lock screen, Karen doubled down, accusing her of stealing it, even suggesting it belonged to some confused white guy nearby. The intercom crackled, "Captain announcing an emergency landing in Raleigh." Lena knew then, this wasn't about a laptop. It was about her skin. At Raleigh, security stormed in, led by Karen and Mike, pointing at Lena like she was a fugitive. "Stand up, hands where we can see 'em," barked Officer Dan Carter, his hand on his gun. Lena complied, calm as ever, but they cuffed her so tight her wrists bled. "Stop resisting," Carter growled, though she hadn't moved an inch. Passengers filmed, some shouting it was too much, but the officers paraded her through the terminal like a trophy, travelers staring, judging. In the detention room, a cold, stark box security chief Paul Vance tossed a file on the table, sneering, "Theft, disruption, refusing orders. Sign this confession, kid." Lena didn't flinch. "I'm not signing lies. I need to call my dad." Vance laughed, but when Lena dialed James, everything shifted. James Thompson, CEO of Horizon Global Airlines. Her dad's voice boomed on speaker, and Vance's smug face collapsed like a bad souffle. "You've detained my daughter without cause, denied her medical care, and tried to force a false confession. Care to explain?" James was already pulling security footage, passenger videos going viral, justice for Lena trending. He locked the crew out of Horizon's systems and had Lena whisked to the VIP lounge, a chopper en route to get her to Caltech. But it wasn't over. Turns out, Richard Holt worked for Apex Airlines, Horizon's rival, under CEO Victor Grayson, a man who'd fought James' diversity push for years. Text showed Karen was tipped off about Lena before she boarded, part of a plan to humiliate her, tank James' reputation, and sabotage his diversity initiative. Lena nailed her Caltech interview, her designs for eco-friendly planes wowing the panel, but Grayson's team spun lies, painting her as entitled, flooding media with fake witnesses. James and Lena fought back, filing lawsuits against Apex, Karen, Mike, and Raleigh Security. Grayson countered with defamation claims, and the courtroom felt rigged evidence lost. Judge Laura Bennett oddly lenient with Grayson's side. Then Officer Sarah Miles, who'd bandaged Lena's wrists, stepped up with recordings of Vance admitting he targeted the Thompson girl to teach her a place. That cracked the case wide open. In federal court, Judge Samuel Reed laid it out. This was a conspiracy to violate Lena Thompson's civil rights, orchestrated by Victor Grayson. Grayson faced prison, his allies' charges, and Raleigh Security federal oversight. Lena used her settlement to start the Thompson Equity Foundation, funding legal aid and anti-racism education. 3 years later, she's at Caltech, designing planes to make travel greener, fairer. Boarding a flight to a conference, she's welcomed warm lino cuffs, just respect. So what do you think? Could you stay calm like Lena, fighting a system stacked against you? Or would you fold to protect your future? Ever seen someone targeted like this? Wished you could step in? Drop a comment with your thoughts on fighting for justice, no matter the odds. Hit that like button if this story fired you up, subscribe for more real talk on standing up to power, and share this with someone who needs to see how deep prejudice runs and how hard we can fight it.